at this tweet from Miss Hillary Clinton. Storytelling is at the heart of every cultural and political revolution. Looking forward to joining women in the world tomorrow of living under tyrants and discuss threats to democracies around the world and at home. Now, to be clear, folks, I'm not against Hillary Clinton going to speak on panels. I'm not against Hillary Clinton showcasing other brave young women who live abroad, their stories of living under tyrants. I think that's really important, even though I don't like Hillary Clinton. I don't like her policies. I got a lot of problems with Hillary Clinton. We're not against showcasing and exposing and enlightening the world as to the terrible conditions that young women and young boys are living around all over the world. So I'm not against it. What I am against is the insane lack of self-awareness from Hillary Clinton. Listen, look at this tweet one more time, folks. Storytelling is at the heart of every cultural and political revolution. Looking forward to joining women in the world tomorrow with 4 brave women who will share accounts of living under tyrants and discuss threats to democracies around the world and at home. Well, why don't you ask those 4 brave women who are sharing accounts of living under tyrants how they feel about you, your husband, and your State Department funding tyrants around the world? Anybody else find a little inconsistency here? Anybody else find a little inconsistency where Hillary Clinton wants to sit on a panel and showcase brave women who are, talking about the tyranny they live in around the world? And by the way, these 4 brave women, I'm sure, actually do live under tyrants. But the problem is, Hillary Clinton helped create those tyrants and fund those tyrants and weaponize those tyrants. And by the way, it's not just Hillary Clinton. We have in corporate media, I went live on Saturday about the missiles that were dropped on Syria. We're launching, essentially, we're going to launch another war based on no evidence before inspectors could even go in and actually test the chemical weapons, see who actually is responsible. Trump dropped 100 Tomahawks on 3 chemical sites in Syria and other sites, too, that didn't get reported. And the same usual suspects were on CNN, MSNBC, in the pages of the New York Times. It's funny. In one breath, for a year, they've been calling Trump a wimp. You had Howard Dean literally tweet, Trump's a wimp. So Trump's not tough enough. He's a Kremlin puppet. And then when he starts dropping the bombs, then all of a sudden, they moonwalk faster than Michael Jackson, and they're not okay with this. Majority of them were, because they love war. They love bombing other countries. They love killing innocent civilians. But they weren't okay with Trump doing it. So they called him a wimp for a year, and then there's people coming out against Trump. But this mentality where we're against tyrants from other countries and we're against Bashar al-Assad, even though the U.S. has been funding Saudi Arabia, Hillary Clinton's State Department funded Saudi Arabia a hell of a lot of money so they could weaponize, and Saudi Arabia has done unspeakable things to their women citizens. Unspeakable things. And, this new Saudi prince is called modern, and he's improving conditions, and women can now walk around more freely. And that's great if that's true. I don't know if it's true, to tell you the truth. I'm not a foreign reporter. But what I do know is when Hillary Clinton was in the State Department, she funded Saudi Arabia a lot of money. According to this article, Hillary Clinton's State Department armed Saudi Arabia to the teeth, while Saudi Arabia and Boeing poured cash into the Clinton Foundation. Hillary Clinton's State Department approved enormous sales of Boeing fighter jets to the kingdom of tyranny that has tyrants that treat women and young children awfully. As Hillary Clinton emerges, this is from years ago, by the way, as Hillary Clinton emerges as the frontrunner for the Democratic Party's presidential candidate, she's receiving increased scrutiny for her years as Secretary of State, and in particular, her hawkish foreign policy. Many critics are focused especially on her long relationship with Saudi Arabia. On Christmas Eve 2011, Hillary Clinton and her closest aides celebrated a $29.4 billion with a B, Sale of over 80 F-15 fighter jets manufactured by U.S.-based Boeing Corporation to Saudi Arabia. In a chain of enthusiastic emails, an aide exclaimed that it was, quote, not a bad Christmas present. Well, first of all, as a Jew, I'm offended. Where was the Hanukkah sale of arms? We only sent arms to Saudi Arabia on Christmas? What about equal time for Jews? I'm totally kidding. Totally kidding. I don't want arms sent on Christmas, on Hanukkah. These are the very fighter jets the Saudis have been using to bomb Yemen since March 2015. A year later, at least 2,800 Yemeni civilians have been killed, mostly by airstrikes, and there's no end in sight. By the way, this piece is from March 8th, 2016. It's a hell of a lot more than 2,800 Yemeni civilians have been killed by the weapons of Saudi Arabia funded from the United States. The indiscriminate Saudi strikes have killed journalists and ambulance drivers. They've hit the Chamber of Commerce, facilities supported by Médecins Sans Frontières, also known as Doctors Without Borders, a wedding hall, and a center for the blind. The attacks have also targeted ancient heritage sites in Yemen. International human rights organizations are saying that Saudi-led strikes on Yemen may amount to war crimes. I think we could drop that pretense. These are war crimes. And during her tenure as Secretary of State, Clinton made weapons transfers to the Saudi government a top priority. And why do you think she did that? Anybody got a guess why Hillary Clinton made transfers of weapons to Saudi Arabia a top priority? The claim that this is all just about trying to help people in need should not even pass a laugh test, let alone rational scrutiny. To see how true that is, just look at who some of the biggest donors to the Clinton Foundation are. Although it did not give while she was Secretary of State, the Saudi regime by itself has donated between $10 million and $25 million to the Clinton Foundation, with donations coming as late as 2014 as Ms. Clinton prepared her presidential run. A group called Friends of Saudi Arabia, oh Jesus, co-founded by a Saudi prince, gave an additional amount between $1 million and $5 million. The Clinton Foundation says that between $1 million and $5 million was also donated by the state of Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and the government of Brunei. The state of Kuwait has donated between $5 million and $10 million. Theoretically, one could say that these regions, among the most repressive and regressive in the world, are donating because they deeply believe in the charitable work of the Clinton Foundation and want to help those in need. Is there a single person on the planet who actually believes this? By the way, this was written by the great Glenn Greenwald. I'm just going to highlight that. Is there a single person on the planet who actually believes this? I'm just going to edit Glenn Greenwald's piece for a second, and I hate to edit Glenn Greenwald because he's a hero of mine, but I would add, is there a single person on the planet other than Neera Tanden who actually believes this? Is Clinton loyalty really so strong that people are going to argue with a straight face that the reason the Saudi, Qatari, Kuwaiti, and Emirates regimes donated large amounts of money to the Clinton Foundation is because those regimes simply want to help the foundation achieve its magnanimous goals? Here's one of the Clinton Foundation's principal objectives. Decide for yourself if its tyrannical donors are acting with the motives of advancing the charitable goal. We're working towards a world where more girls and women can achieve full participation in all aspects of life. I think that's great. Despite significant progress over the last several decades towards girls and women's full participation, gaps still remain. Our program empowers in improving health outcomes. Here we go. Saudi Arabia's top cleric defends female driving ban, saying women would be exposed to evil. So, to be clear, you know, Hillary Clinton, I'm not blaming Hillary Clinton for Saudi Arabia's history of brutalization against women. They've kidnapped women, they've raped women, they've done terrible things to women. But she's talking about going on a panel at the Women of the World conference to showcase 4 brave women who are living under tyrants. Does she know she's partly responsible for empowering those tyrants? Does she not know this? Does she know it but thinks none of the rest of the world knows it? And this is about more than Hillary Clinton, because this alternative reality and this sociopathy, thank you, Anthony. Sociopathy is pervasive through not just the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, the corporate media. I mean, Jake Tapper literally said today on his air, obviously America's not fascist. And I had to tweet, I guess you weren't paying attention during Standing Rock, when the publicly funded police department was literally brutalizing unarmed Americans who, for the crime of protesting a pipeline so that they could defend a corporation or a big oil company. That's a definition of fascism. What's amazing to me is Hillary Clinton, her foundation, which, by the way, I do believe the Clinton Foundation has done some good around the world. Just because I don't like Hillary Clinton or her policies, I'm sure there's been some good done by the Clinton Foundation. But how dare Hillary Clinton be tweeting and going on panels that she's some, purveyor of, brave women and she's fighting for women, when you have literally, your State Department was like a money funnel for tyrants. And it wasn't just Saudi Arabia, by the way. There were other countries she was giving weapons to. So even though she hopefully isn't running for president for the 75th time, and even though she is now out of public life, when I see this, I have to call it out. Because Hillary Clinton, make no mistake, the Clintonites are still running the Democratic Party. The people who defend Hillary Clinton are still backing the Democratic Party. They are still at the head of the table. They are still the ones who refuse to get behind Medicare for all. They are still the ones who refuse to get behind ending private prisons. They are still the ones that refuse to get behind free public college tuition. They are still the ones that are hooting and hollering about Russia, but they can't find time to hoot and holler about an American city poisoned going on 4 years who has now had the water taken away from them. So Nestle could get 400 gallons a minute from Michigan and not pay anything, but the impoverished citizens of Flint can't get anything. You hear that coming from Hillary Clinton's side of the Democratic Party? I don't. So what do I have to say to Hillary Clinton? This is going to be controversial. Please go fucking hang out in the woods. Leave us alone. Leave the world alone. Okay? I know Jimmy Dore would have a little bit of a stronger thing for me, but a little stronger sentiment. I don't want to scream too loudly. But I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of the hypocrisy. I'm sick of the lack of self-awareness. I'm sick of... Hillary Clinton is insulting my intelligence. She is insulting your intelligence. So when she says, storytelling is at the heart of every cultural and political revolution. Looking forward to joining the women of the world tomorrow with 4 brave women who will share accounts of living under tyrants and discuss threats to democracies around the world. I would love just once, whoever is a moderator for one of these panels, just ask Miss Clinton, well, what do you think about the tyrants you armed? What do you think about the tyrants your foundation has taken millions of dollars from? Stop insulting our intelligence. And please, 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 let the progressive takeover happen slowly. Not slowly. Let it happen. Stop fighting. Stop fighting what's natural. You made enough money. You had your chance. Time to go.